before we get to our main project, Joan Hawley is here again to give us some tips and techniques. Hi, Joan. How are you?
Hi, Kay. I'm fine. How are you?
Good. What kind of things do you have for us today?
I have a great tip that comes from a viewer question. As you can see from some of our projects, this one, for instance, we have quite large pieces of fabric. Now, the biggest one is on the inside of this bag, and here we've taken it apart so we can show you, but the lining is all one piece.
Okay.
So our question is, how do you accurately cut oversized pieces with a standard size cutting ruler and cutting mat?
Okay.
So let's take a look at that. Now, there's no mystery to this, and the first misconception is that accuracy is important.
Oh, okay.
And it's not. Here we have a yard of fabric.
All right.
And we're going to go ahead and line it up on our cutting mat using the lines on our cutting mat. We have folded and pressed this. And what we're going for here is just to get a nice clean edge so we have something to work off of. So it's nice to have an oversized ruler or a standard, 24-inch by 6-inch ruler. We're going to line it up against the lines on our mat and then rotary cut so we have a good fresh edge to measure from. All right, now for that large piece, I think we needed something about 16 or 17 inches.
All right.
We're going to work almost all the way off the mat if we do that.
Right.
So let's pick up our fabric, leaving everything in place. And I'm going to show you how we work from the other side. And we're just going to rotate, lay our fabric back out. And we can do this because accuracy is not as important with this project as it would be with, let's say, piecing a star design, where the 1/4-inch seam is important for every piece. Everything in our project gets sewn together at one time. So if we use a small seam allowance or a large seam allowance, it doesn't really matter. But we're simply going to count over the lines on our mat for whatever that size piece is that we need and go ahead and cut. And what we're really doing here is cutting an oversized strip. And we can remove this, and we have to do one more cut to get to what we need. And we'll rotate the mat, leaving our fabric in place. And whatever that distance is that we need, we'll just lay the ruler over as far as we need and cut. And let's go ahead and give this a little shift so I can get to it accurately. And so the concept here is to work off of the mat rather than your ruler. Because for oversized cutting for accuracy, you need to add rulers together. But look, we have the size piece we need. We laid it out once, arranged it, rotated the mat and ruler as needed, and we get the accuracy we need for this oversized project.
Good idea.
All right, Kay, and we have one more tip. This is fabulous. Now remember, for the fabric, we measured and cut. We laid it all out nice on our cutting mat and used our ruler. Well, we need a piece of batting for this project too, so we just kind of guesstimated how big we need it and cut it oversized for our fabric. And then when you smooth your fabric into place, you can see we've got extra batting all around. And later in the construction, we'll just trim away that extra batting and it'll be the perfect size, and we didn't have to measure that.
Good.
So that's pretty easy and convenient. Now, another thing I get asked about is, how do you work with oversized pieces once they're cut? And for this next part, we need to center a pocket in the middle of this. So we're working with two big pieces. So here's our tip for this. We're going to turn our fabric over and match our edges and press.
Okay.
And then we're going to do it again and press. And you'll take your time and do it a little bit nicer than we have here. If you'll help me open this back out and smooth it into place, what we did was we gave ourselves some landmarks. So all those nice folds are going to work as registration marks. Here we have the pocket panel, and we did the same thing. As you can see, we folded it and pressed it. And if you'll help me, we'll just line up those creases. And when those are in place, we know that the pocket is perfectly centered over our lining. And this is the goal that we're headed for. Here's the oversized lining that we cut, our pocket panel. Everything's perfectly lined up. We found an easy way to cut it all, and we've nicely worked with oversized pieces, and we have the accuracy we need for this project.
Well, thank you, Joan. As usual, you've got some neat tips that people can use in a lot of different projects.
Absolutely, not just for bag designs, but for anywhere you need to cut oversized pieces.
Okay, well, thank you.